Here we go. Another adventures of Justin Time's wonderful journey down the road. Alright, it is, I think, somewhere around August 24th. This video won't go out for I don't know how long because I'm in the middle of fuck nowhere. And I don't know when I can find internet. I have to go hunt down a McDonald's and upload this shit. But it will be out in due time. So, with that being said, if you've watched any of my other videos, and most haven't, some have, and I don't even care, I keep trying different things. I try things all the time, something new, something fresh, something exciting, something maybe it's going to be profitable or in some kind of way my best interest of doing these things. So, I am going to take these fucking queer ass flip flops off and get down to business. I'm going to tell you a little bit of what I've been going through. So, we're going to start with the present and rewind to the past and jump to the future, all in that order. And the present, right now, which they would call presently, I am sitting in an octagon house. And I'll show you. This is an octagon house. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms that needs to be finished inside. How I found this job is something of pure, I'd have to say, it was faith. You know, this job found me ultimately. Alright, that's the present. We'll come back to this in a minute. So, we're going to jump back to the past. Fuck. Which hasn't been very good for me. But it's made me a different person. It's made me a better person. It's made me a smarter person. It's made me more aware of the situations that I put myself in. Even if I don't listen to them, it has helped me somehow, some way. I was in Alabama. I fucking was down on my luck. Camper's gone. So, obviously, I'm not in the camper anymore. That's a long story behind that, but, you know, there were truly people fucking with me in my camper. To the point where they're driving me insane, and they knew it, and they were doing it on purpose. And I understand what happened, and I accept the fact that there was really nothing I could do about it. So, I have pictures, actually. Fuck, I worked a long day today. I'm in Arkansas now. I'm not in Alabama anymore. I done fucking moved 5 times in a month. So I went from Alabama to camper's gone. Found myself homeless. Well, between finding myself homeless and the camper being gone, I met this chick at the Waffle House of all places. Prior to my camper being gone, and I finally, she said I can come stay with her to get out of there for a while, and I did. And it went okay. Turns out that she's completely not what I want in my life, and, you know, that being said, she's a good person. She is not what I'm looking for. So I went from her house, and I got an opportunity to go to Mobile, Alabama, to live in the basement of this guy's house that he bought, a secondary house, and do some carpentry work and finish the upstairs so we could sell it. So I packed all my shit. I left her house. Her mom wanted me to leave anyway. I don't know. I don't think I wore out my welcome. I was only there for 4 or 5 days, and I fucking pruned her palm trees, and I did a bunch of shit for her, but that wasn't good enough. But anyway, so be it. I got on Craigslist. I found a guy who was looking for somebody to work. And here I go again. I'm just a sucker for punishment. He had a bunkhouse. It was like a big ass shed in the backyard. He was wanting to convert it into like a studio, a little apartment, like a mini house or some such shit. And it was started. And he said I can live in the main house in a back room until the bunkhouse was finished, and I move out there. And it started out that was all I was doing. Well, then he found out that I had abilities to actually do carpentry work, and I had a level head on my shoulders. And what I've noticed is people that go on Craigslist looking for people to do things and provide housing, all they're doing is looking for somebody they can use. Somebody that they can take advantage of and suck them dry. Which I've gone through this before in Pensacola and a couple other places, but I figured out what the hell, I got nothing to lose, I'll give it a try. Well, this guy just happened to be in New Orleans. So it's like a 3-hour drive. I don't have enough beer in me. I'll stop yawning in a minute. About a 3-hour drive from Alabama to New Orleans. I go there, I pack my dog up, and I got my shit, and I was smart enough to get a storage unit prior, to put my main things in case anything happened. And I left my car at my buddy's his shop, and so I just took my truck and I went and checked it out. And the guy was pretty cool at first, he was good, but once he started seeing that I'm not some average shit, homeless and shit, that I actually had a head on my shoulders, and he offered me more and more, and he sugarcoated pretty much everything. So he gave me a room off from the living room, which was ultimately, I think, probably the dining room at one point in time. But he said I could frame up a wall and make a wall for some privacy, which I did. No problem. And then I needed an air conditioner. I don't know fucking AC in there. So I went and bought an air conditioner off Craigslist. I fucking love Craigslist, and I hate Craigslist all at the same time. So I found an air conditioner, a great big one. Well, there's no window in that room to put the air conditioner in. So he let me, I cut a fucking hole in the wall. It was like midnight. And I cut a hole in the wall, and I framed it all in, and I put an air conditioner in. Pow. Now I got AC. I got myself all situated, and he graduated. He said he had... Fuck, I can't stop yawning. You'll understand why I'm yawning so much at the end of the story. So I went from just wanting to work on the bunkhouse and pay for my rent to being a carpenter on his construction crew as a lead carpenter. That means I had to run the crew of anywhere between 6 to 12 guys. So that was a big fucking jump. Not that I couldn't handle it, but I wasn't aware of it. And, he was paying me pretty good money. So I'm going to make this story fucking short because there's so much in the middle of it that it doesn't even... It applies, but it's one of those things that's just not... You don't need to fucking know every single detail. Anyway, turns out the guy's a complete meth head. He loses his shit over everything. I hire a few guys, he runs them off by being an asshole. Well, I'm in charge of the hiring and firing. Well, I didn't know that at the time. This fucking guy, he put an ad out for fucking laborers and experienced carpenters for this job we're doing, and gave them my number, and posted my number for contact. So, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting fucking phone calls, people looking for jobs, and I didn't even know what was going on. I had no idea that I was hiring fucking new guys. I guess that's part of the job. I don't fucking know. I wasn't told. I don't think I was getting paid enough for that shit. But I went along with it, and I did it. Because I want the guys to be who I want. Because they're going to be working under me. So, I was kind of good with that. So, we were lifting the house up and, 20 feet in the air on stilts. Completely gutting the inside. And had to replace the beams underneath. And there's that yawn again. like I said, you'll get it. So he had me eventually doing all of the paperwork for the homeowner, taking all the pictures, pretty much doing the contractor's job. I'm using all of my tools because I had about 85-90% of the tools needed to do this job to keep everybody going. Well, most of the time he wasn't even there. So I'm running the show, paying the guys through, the fuck's it called? Cash App, I guess, with his money. But I wasn't getting paid yet. I was buying gas for the generator, back and forth to work, So I decided to leave my truck at the job site. And I went down. I met a guy that was working for me. So much has happened, I can't get this straight. One guy, his name was Scott. Hell of a good guy. I mean, he was down and out, homeless. He came to work for me. So he was a laborer. I mean, one of the best fucking guys I've ever met. Him and I went down to Alabama to get my car, which was in, at my buddy's house, and then we got some stuff out of storage and we went back up. So I had my car and my truck. I left my truck at the job site because it's like a rolling toolbox. My truck's just jam-packed with tools. That's what I spend all my money on. I spend all my money on tools because tools make me money. So we're using all of my tools, and now we're going back and forth. Scott doesn't have a car, or he just got a bag and a dog, So Scott and I are riding back. Well, Scott's staying in the bunkhouse that was unfinished, and I'm staying in the bedroom that I built in this guy's house, and we're going back and forth to work. And this guy, his name is Rick. His name is Richard Ryan, Ryon. He is the biggest piece of shit in the whole world, and I hope everybody fucking talks about it. Because not only did this guy try to kick us out because we didn't want to work for him anymore, he tried lying, saying I was driving drunk all the time. He tried so all this stuff. He just, every fucking poke and stab he could make, he tried making. Oh, it's getting dark. I gotta go let my dog in. She's in heat, and she will get fucking knocked up if I don't go fetch her. But anyway, this fucking guy did nothing but screw me over. I never saw a whole month's worth of pay. Now, at $42 an hour, all right, and I wrote down all my hours, times 36 days straight with no money, you figure that out, at 10, 12-hour days average, plus the time I did work in his yard to pay off my rent, because that was a separate deal. I lost my ass. I lost approximately $8,000 in money, plus about $2,000 of my own money that I spent out on ice and water for the crew, gas and back and forth, fixing his plumbing. Yeah, burnt the fucking shit out of my hand. It's finally starting to look a little better. But that was third-degree burns, working on his fucking plumbing. And all this stuff happened, and I never even got a thank you. All he tried to do is kick us out. So, on that note, I'll be right back. I gotta go fetch my dog, and I'll tell you the rest of the story. Hold on. Whew. She's exhausted. No, fuck off. Get away from the phone. Alright, so he was yelling, this guy, at everybody on the crew, driving him off. I mean, he was only paying him like between 15 and 17 bucks an hour. Completely fucking driving him off. This one guy, Scott, I was talking about, is the only guy that stuck through. Like, he just stuck through. He was a fucking trooper. And I was highly impressed by his stubbornness and his drive to want something, anything. And that's what the guy did. He always looked for the weak people so he could take advantage of them. And unfortunately, Scott was one of those people at the time. So, when it was time, one day we were at job, the last day, I was on the scissor lift, and he was screaming at Scott, which he did all day, every day. And I don't know how this man, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he took it. I don't know how in the world he dealt with it. But he did. This guy's got thick skin, and he is, I admire him. I admire him completely for what he is able to, deal with it. He kept his composure. He never freaked out. Well, the guy owner, his name was Rick, or he liked to be called Brick for whatever reason. Like, fuck, smash him in the head with a fucking brick myself. But he was screaming and yelling at Scott, like, all day, every day. That's how he does it. And Scott always kept his cool and did what he said, run back and forth. Now, you got to keep in mind, Scott has never worked on a construction site in his life. The motherfucker's been a bartender for like 18 years. He didn't have a clue on what to do on a construction site. So, I was taking the time and talking him through, what needs to be done, what's next, just trying to teach him and trying to ease him into, working construction sites is not an easy thing. The work is hard. The guys are hard on each other. They're especially the guys upper level are hard on the laborers. That's all there is to it. They're going to be. They always have been, and they probably always will be. But Scott, there's something different about him. He wanted to learn. He wanted to know. He wanted to know why and how, while he was getting screamed at the entire time. And I tell you what, if I could take my hat off for anyway, which I don't have one, but for anybody, and just say, this is for you, this bud's for you, it would be to Scott. This motherfucker is a stand-up, true blue guy. He earned every ounce of trust and faith that I can give a person for what I've seen him go through. Well, the guy fucking freaked out on Scott all day, like I said, and then he started yelling at me. Well, I can't do a very good job because I had third-degree burns on my fucking arm. I'm working one-handed on a scissor lift under a fucking house trying to nail shit. I can't fucking possibly do it fast. And he yelled at me like he yelled at a laborer, and that was it. I fucking lost it. Nobody fucking talks to me like that at all. I have over 25 years experience in doing this shit, and I will not tolerate somebody talking to me like that. I threw the fucking nail gun down, and I said, and I just fucking lost it on the guy. I told him, shut the fuck up, quit freaking out. I'm not working in a hostile environment. I'm going to the fucking doctor because I have an infection in my fucking arm. And that's it. I'm done. Well, he fucking stormed off, got mad, left. He left the job site because of that. Fuck this job. Well, he was depending on me for that entire job. I was the one running the crew, running the help, had all the tools and the know-how to do every part of this job. He was just collecting the check and bossing people around and freaking out on everybody. So ultimately, I was doing all the work. And I was only, I was making $42 an hour, yeah. But he was billing me out at $76 an hour. So he's making that much money off me. And he's never even there. And he's yelling at everybody and pissing me off every day of the week. So Scott and I, the last two ones at the job, right? It was just us. And I said, Scott, I want all of my tools in my truck. Everything. I don't give a fuck what it is. All of my chains, all of my padlocks, every fucking thing I own in my truck. So my truck's freighted, like squatted right now. I mean, it's freighted. Now I have a truck and a car. So I trusted Scott. I was like, all right, you're going to drive my car back. We're going to go back to his house because we both lived at his house. And then that night he looks at the owner, like, Brick, he goes, they fix your arm? I said, no. Didn't even go to the doctor. I said, because I couldn't afford the $150 they wanted for the fucking, to be seen. I don't have the money. You never paid me. I don't have enough money anymore. And, because I used all my fucking money, And he got all mad and shit and he wanted us to get out. And I said, you know what? I'm not some dumb shit. Serve me an eviction notice and I'll leave 30 days after that notice. And then he got really mad because apparently somebody knows what they're talking about. So the next day or 2 days later, Scott and I decided to, there's a lot more in between that, but I'm just going to leave it out. But we decided to just fucking leave. Scott, stand up guy. He said, I'm going with you. Hey, I'm with you. And I was like, come on, man. I won't fucking do you wrong. Let's go. You drive my car, I'll drive my truck. We'll grab our dogs and we're out of here. So we went down to, fuck was it? Slidell, Louisiana. Scott, the stand-up guy. Now this is how he started. He was homeless, holding a sign, asking for like donations. I don't even know what his sign said. He went out there and held up a sign and got enough money for us to get enough gas in both of the vehicles to go to Alabama. I had enough points on my Red Roof account to get a room for the night. So we got a room for the night. We got our fucking head right. Made a decision. I did everything I could to make the right decision because they don't seem to be working out right for me sometimes. So my decision was to go to Alabama, go to my storage unit, drop some fucking shit off because I got too much stuff in between both vehicles. We're just carrying a lot of dead weight. And after I made that decision, Scott left in the morning to go do his thing in the motel, and I sat there and I am not shitting you. I have been talking about this, and you can ask anybody. I have been talking about moving to Arkansas. Something about Arkansas just captured my thoughts because I've been from Maine all the way down the East Coast, down the Blue Ridge Mountains, all the way to the Keys in Florida, my toes in the sand, to Perdido Keys, Alabama, in the sand and the sun and the surf. And I've been to Mississippi. I got pictures. I've been in Biloxi, fucking gambling at the casino. I went to Louisiana to try the storm fucking thing to rebuild houses. And then I wanted to go to Arkansas because the Ozarks. You know, I thought Arkansas, Missouri, and that's where the Ozark Mountains are. And that seems like where I want to be because it's a lot like Maine, but it's not like Maine. And that does make sense to me. I don't give a fuck who you are. So, I looked up on Craigslist. I was looking for jobs needed or work, you know, in Arkansas. And I found this guy. You know, all it said was, need help fixing houses. And I fucking emailed him, which I finally learned how to fucking do. And I left my number, and he calls me back, like, within a couple of hours. This guy buys decrepit properties. He's got 30 of them right now, 30-ish, because he doesn't even know how many he has, to be honest. He has so many fucking houses. And he buys them, and he wants to just fix them up. And just enough, not like fine-tune them or anything, like no paint, no trim. Just fix them up just enough so people with low income can rent to own them or buy them outright as is. And I talked to him for over an hour on the phone. I was like, fuck it. Arkansas, here I come. I scrounged everything I had up. I went to my storage unit, dropped all my shit off. Now, this is the point where Scott's still with me, and I can't very well get a job for Scott without me talking to him. So I found out, I told Scott, I'll be back in a week for you, you know, or I'll make something happen. Now, you gotta remember, Scott has been homeless, sleeping under bridges and fucking alleyways and shit for like 10 months. And he did so much to help me, and I've done so much to help him. I gave him the keys to my car. I got a cell phone that I used to use for a business phone out of my storage unit. I said, here, turn this on. I'll be back for you. That's how much I trust this fucking guy. I've never done that for anybody in my life. I gave him the keys to my car, the paperwork to the car, and a phone. I told him I'd be back. Well, it was 3 days went by. I drove all the way up here. It was like 10, 11 hours or some such shit to drive all the way to Arkansas from southern Alabama. I mean, I was right down by Florida. And I wound up meeting a guy, doing a little bit of work. This is why I'm tired, because I have not caught up on all my sleep from driving and fucking running for that other guy. Did a little bit of work, found some character. We figured out we liked, you know, I told him, I said, I don't ever really go. I don't mind sleeping in my truck for a little while, get a couple paychecks under my belt. I'll go find somewhere to rent. I need a place to stay. So, come to find out, he put me up in one of his empty houses. This is octagon house. It's the coolest fucking thing I've ever been in my life. It's not finished. It's like 3/4 of the way done. And he wants to sell it, but he wants me to come in and do a bunch of work to it. So I now have a bedroom in a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bathroom house sitting on a nice chunk of land. And I can look across the street at an RV park saying, fuck you. I'll never live in an RV park again in my life. Now I'm in a fucking house. And this guy's going to take care of me. As far as I know, we're not getting our hopes up yet because time will tell as far as anything has ever worked out for me. But it's an opportunity that kind of found me, and I wasn't looking for it, so I call them the ones that are knocking. So I talked to Scott tonight. He finally called me. He didn't get the phone turned on because he fucked that up somehow. He told me, but I wasn't really listening. I don't know how you can fuck up turning a phone on, but he and I told him where I was and everything. I gave him the address, and I said, "Come on, let's go. I get you a job. Drive my car up here.